YB stays on your neck.
29-year-old. You can't teach him to be fleet-footed. He doesn't have the build for it. Not unless he's going to go back down to his natural weight of 14 or 15 stone. And give up all the stuff he's been doing, all the weightlifting and all that, bodybuilding and all that. Then he may have a chance. I think he needs some mental coaching and back to the drawing board, and he needs to get shut of every arse kisser around him, because in this game there's no space for yes men, pats on the back and all that, and bag carriers, security guards. He needs to reel up, like his dad said, get a bit smarter and listen to people who care, not to people who's around him for a few quid or a free ride.
Did you take some?
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So we just heard there from Tyson, Pillow Fist, Fury. Now, many people often say to YB, "Oh, YB, you flip and you fold. You're agreeing with Deontay Wilder today. You're agreeing with Tyson Fury today." Listen, YB, contrary to popular belief, YB is no fango. YB judges people on a case-by-case basis. What do we know? AJ comes in with poor conditioning, with a shocking game plan, looking completely confused. Did YB sit here and say, "Oh no, that was a great performance. Oh no, AJ's going to run through Ruiz again"? I ain't said that. You haven't heard me fix my lips and try and justify them actions in that ring. I've slagged off AJ, his team, etc., etc. A case-by-case basis. On this case, is Tyson Fury known as the bipolar flip-flopper? Absolutely. In this particular example, I happen to completely agree with him. Let's take it from the top. He says, and this is exactly what I've been saying. It's amazing. This is YB allegedly doesn't know boxing. But is it funny? Isn't it funny how I was saying, in fact, in my opinion, to a higher degree as well, in terms of my explanations I was giving? Fury comes out of his mouth. Let's take him from the top. You can't teach AJ to be fleet-footed. He doesn't have to build unless he's going back to 15 stone and giving up the weightlifting. Then maybe he'll have a chance. What's YB been saying? There's horses for courses. Anthony Joshua is a 200-meter runner. Fury's a 1500-meter runner. Completely different two types of cats. You cannot have them thick legs, that thick chest and them thick arms and think you can be twinkle toes. Sugar Ray Leonard said, "Why is Joshua wasting so much energy on the back foot pivoting?" And Joshua himself has talked about how thick his legs are and how thick his neck is. What's the point of having a thick neck and thick legs if you're going to back up and fight shook? You're meant to plant. Them legs were designed to be planted. Yeah, to be stable and to bang from. They weren't made to be backing up and pivoting and trying to be twinkle toes. Muhammad Ali says Tyson Fury with no jab. You weren't made for that. You were made to bust people up, moving forward. Mike Tyson style. Look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson could not fight going backwards, and rightly so. He was a small dude, a 5'8" dude. He weren't. Listen, I've had a picture of Mike Tyson. I'm 5'10". He was miles smaller than me. 5'8", I'm telling you. Not a lick more than 5'8". He's tiny. And rightly so. There was no point Mike Tyson learning how to fight going backwards, because if he had to fight going backwards with his little T-Rex arms, his arms were tiny. He was never going to outbox someone. Impossible. He had to learn how to come forward, move his head, etc., etc. Now AJ, to his credit, he is 6'6". However, he hasn't got his arms aren't that long. He's got quite stubby arms. He's got a thick barrel chest. You have to work into your attributes. AJ is quite clearly, he's an explosive dude. Short twitch. Fast twitch, rather. Explosive. He needs to work on that. You can't change everyone into everything. You could never change. I don't care how many weights Fury lifts. I don't care how much power he works on. He could never be a power puncher or an explosive fighter, in my opinion. And if anyone with a brain can work that out. But the same way that's said, Anthony Joshua will never be a 15-round fighter who can have really light on his feet and bouncing up and down and really fast feet. He will never be that guy. And it's a shame that McCracken and whatnot, they're trying to turn him into that guy. It's completely mental. But that fight, in the Ruiz fight, that showed there what's been going on in training. AJ is completely confused. Low lead hand, backing up, running away. He is all over the place. No wonder he's forgotten how to fight on the front foot. No wonder he's forgotten the basics, i.e. coming in with a high guard if you're going to go into the pocket. No wonder he's forgot that. He's been trying to beat 6 different people at once. It should be clear. And that's what, look at Daniel Dubois as an example. No mistake about it. Daniel Dubois knows the kind of fighter he is. You don't see him backing up and trying to sprinkle around the place. Now, to his credit, he hasn't actually fought anyone yet, but he hasn't looked confused ever. And to be honest with you, apart from this fight, Joshua's never looked that confused either. But that said, even though this fight was the pinnacle of shocking, Joshua, there has been signs over the last few fights that he keeps it's like he's trying to go down a road he's not made for. You see him moving his feet more, which is good in some places. But look at the Klitschko fight, the first 4 rounds, Joshua was trying to be twinkle toes and not getting stuck in. He was losing that fight. Then he started getting stuck in, and it was working for him. But what let him down? It wasn't the Joshua game plan. The fact Joshua became more aggressive after the first 4 rounds, that wasn't his game plan that let him down. What let Joshua down? His conditioning. If Joshua, that's the great thing about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson in his prime, before he went off the rails and started not training, he could go 12 rounds. He could throw combinations for 12 rounds. Now, he did often fade towards the end of his fights, but he was still always coming forward, always moving his head, always throwing combinations, always looking to fight. You can condition yourself to be in shape and be an inside fighter and be ferocious. It's just hard work. And there's nothing to say that Joshua, when he gets tired, there's nothing to say he can't go back behind his 1-2. But primarily, your tool should be, I'm going to step in and then I'm going to go to work. That should be your game plan. Not, I'm going to come out and be tentative and try and back up. Because especially versus Ruiz, I think Lennox Lewis said this, often, the worst thing you can do against someone like Mike Tyson and or Ruiz, who you know are going to come forward, the worst thing you can do is act like prey and back up with your chin in the air. The worst thing you can do against a guy who's going to be aggressive and come forward is act vulnerable. Sometimes your best bet is to bend your knees and plant them and say, let's see what's popping. Let's see who's going to take the first back step. It's not going to be me. You have to bully the bully. Look at Evander Holyfield, a perfect example. Look at all the people, Spinks, Burbett, look at all the people who fought Larry Holmes, who fought Mike Tyson scared. They got knocked out, they got busted up. He loves that, it turns Mike on. The minute you start running backwards, you start letting off all these lovely aromas. And it gets Mike rock hard. And he comes forward. The more you back up, the more he's coming forward. But look, what did Holyfield do? Holyfield said, you know what, Mike? I'm not going to be scared of you. I'm going to stand there and see. Let's see what's popping. Mike didn't like it. You have to bully the bullies. But these are all basic principles. Especially Joshua. Joshua was the A side, Joshua was the athletic and the odds betting A side. It wasn't as if it was Mike Tyson versus Holyfield where there's 2 very high level fighters. Ruiz wasn't known as that kind of guy. So why was Joshua coming out and backing up and all scared? Goes back to the training team. Concussion or not, it still goes back to the training team. Either way, as I keep saying. But that's the first thing that I agreed with Fury on. Great point. AJ, even if he loses weight, he'll still be, even if he lost the bulk muscle, he's still going to be an explosive fighter. That's to do with your genetics. Some people have more slow twitch fibers like Fury, who are more aerobic. They can go forever. They don't have as much power or as much speed or as much power, but they can go all day. They can throw punches all day. They can move their feet all day. It's different skill sets. You have to buy into your skill set. You can't turn a lion into a tiger. You can't turn Usain Bolt into a 1500 meter runner. Not going to work ever. That's what they seem to be trying to do with AJ, and that's why I disagree with it. Tyson Fury then says, Anthony Joshua needs some mental coaching. Now, Fury, in this interview, he does go on to say about, AJ was weak. Now, I tend to think that AJ was concussed and whatnot, so I'm not going to go into the mental side. From what I've observed of AJ's done many things that not even Fury or Wilder haven't been able to do. But both Fury and Wilder have said AJ's mentally weak and he needs coaching. But what we do know is AJ's been the one, 80,000, 90,000, pressure moments. He's been the one, Olympic gold medal. He's been the one who hasn't choked. People can say, he didn't really win the Olympic gold medal. Either way, he was there, he only had 3 years experience. He was fighting people who had 10 years experience. Either way, he's shown a propensity or shown an ability to be able to perform. So I've always thought AJ was one of them more alpha characters. And historically speaking, he's always been that dude. He's never really choked. Of all the people, if you want to talk about chokers, Joshua's not one of them. He's one of the guys who thrives on it. When you think about it as well, it's called a spade here. AJ's fighting, taking risks at 15, 16 fights. Meanwhile, Fury didn't take his first risk really until he was 25 versus Vladimir. AJ in his 17th fight, after only having 40 amateur fights, it shows, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with his head. Apart from the actual brain trauma he took 8 days before that. Next thing Fury says. He says Joshua needs to go back to the drawing board and get rid of all the arse kissers and freeloaders. Now, I've got to be honest, I've heard AJ talk about Mike Tyson before, and he said stuff like, yeah, I'm not going to make the same mistakes and I'm going to learn from Mike Tyson. But I have to agree with Fury. It's crazy, I'm going to do a video on this, but there's a picture come out, and it's got AJ's team on it, and the Daily Mail or someone, they've broken it down and shown everyone's role within Joshua's team. Wow. He's got 23 people in his immediate team. Joshua has literally 23 people around him working. Now, he does have some businesses and whatnot, and that's fine, but I'm sorry, man. Too much of an entourage. Too much of an entourage. And ultimately speaking, listen, what do we know? You've got all them people around you, and you still can't come in on weight. You're still coming in too heavy. Why have you got a nutritionist and a dietitian if you can't come in on weight? What's the point in that? They're just sitting around. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? What is the point in that? You've still got glaring holes in your training, in your conditioning. I've said this before. Boxing ability, boxing IQ, these are things that, yeah, you may be able to improve them, but they're pretty natural things. Conditioning is something everyone, you can get a fat man off the couch and get him in cardiovascular shape. There's no excuse not to be in the ring with at least cardiovascular shape. As I was saying, not everyone can have the Roy Jones speed. Not everyone can have the Floyd Mayweather IQ. But what everyone can have is a world-class gas tank. That's your choice, though. That's your training you've got to do. Anyone can have a world-class gas tank. Anyone can. That's one thing you can do. That's one thing you can do, no matter what, no matter who you are. But yet he comes in the ring overweight. As I said a minute ago, the two things you do know about boxing, number one, you can come in the right weight, and number two, you can come in actually in cardiovascular shape. Both of them Joshua can't do, is never really been able to do, which for me falls back to the team. Not listening to instructions from Robert McCracken. Is that Joshua's responsibility? Yes. And I'm just going to go with what Joshua said. He said he was 100% fine. So if he was 100% fine, why was he not listening to Rob McCracken? Lack of respect. A lack of control from Rob needs to go. Lennox Lewis has been saying, time and time again, you have to move on to learn new things. A fighter is all athletes. You are a collection of your experiences. And, yeah, a collection of your experiences and a collection of the people around you. You've only had Rob McCracken around you. He was limited as a fighter. He is limited as a trainer. Look at Carl Froch. How many years was Carl Froch with Rob McCracken for? Show me the progression of Carl Froch. There is no progression. He's just more or less, he hasn't changed in his last 5 years of his career. Never changed once, but yet you want to tell me McCracken's the guy who's going to teach you what you need to know? How? Where's the evidence of this? You can take people like Emmanuel Stewart and look at Klitschko and look at Lennox Lewis and say, bang, that's how he changed him. As examples of what possibly could happen for you. You can't do that with him. And I'm sorry, the way Rob McCracken's handled this, either he's put Joshua in the ring with a concussion, which is that's a cardinal sin of boxing trainers, or he's put him in the ring and Joshua's head, in terms of his training, is all over the place. Completely confused fighter, not in shape, weight not controlled, etc, etc. Either way, Rob McCracken's at fault here, and we've heard nothing from Rob McCracken. He's made no public statement after that public, shocking performance. He should I'd feel personally responsible for that sort of crap. If my fighter had put on that sort of show, you'd have been hearing from me. I'd have made sure everyone understood how I feel in this situation. You know, from Rob sitting there counting the money thinking he's done a great job. He should be encouraging AJ to move on, and that for me is the test of a leech. If people aren't encouraging you to move on and learn, especially when you've been there for 25 fights now, Rob McCracken must be a millionaire off of Joshua alone now. Come on, you've milked enough, bro. Move him on. But you don't want to do that. You want the money, 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 and you best hope that he don't lose again, because then it's all over. The gravy train's over. And I said this myself. from Rob McCracken's point of view, he should be able to say to Joshua, listen, we've had a great time together. You move on. If he really cared about Joshua, he'd say, you move on. And you know what, son? Worst case, if it don't work out, you can come back. But I want you to be the best you can be. See if you can learn more things. And if you can't, come back here. That's what you should be doing. He ain't doing that. He's saying, nah, Joshua, stay with me. I helped you out when you were younger. Stay with me. Money, 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 money. That's what he's saying. Simple. He should literally push Joshua out the door and say, no, Josh, you got to go. Or, better still, say, you know what, Josh, we've only got 6 months. We need to bring someone else in. Let's have a two head trainers to work this one through. Fury had no problem doing that. To his credit. That's what I think. That's what Joshua should be doing at this point. Rob McCracken it's not as if you can sit there and say, Rob McCracken's the caliber of Emmanuel Stewart. He doesn't even need 2 trainers. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure Emmanuel Stewart, he used to have a few trainers with him anyway. He'd have the one that Klitschko and GGG are working with, and James Ali Bashir. So even that, it's weird. Rob McCracken wants all the cash himself, it seems. But he's just 1 point. Joshua's entourage. Too many arse lickers around him. Too many arse lickers. If I was around Joshua and he identified that 250 was too heavy and he got in the ring at 247, me and the team would be having conversations, serious conversations. Dietitian, nutritionist, what are you doing here if he's getting in the ring 8 pounds heavier when you know he's not meant to be that weight? How is that possible? Someone explain to me. Joshua hasn't done that. Oh, I've got the greatest team. Yeah, it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. No, it's not. It's not your responsibility when you're paying people for it to be their responsibility. That's what you're paying them for. Fair enough. If Joshua had a one-man team, I'd be saying, you know what, boss? All eyes are on you. But it's not the case. You've employed all these different alleged professionals, alleged elite members, to do you a service. That's proven. Certain things have proven they haven't done their job properly. Simple. So fair play for Fury for identifying this stuff.